Okay, talking about the prop checkers. So this is a prop tack. So you calibrate it by holding up to a light, AC source, because they flicker. It'll say 360 if it's on the 2-blade, so it's got a little switch on it for 2 and 3-blade. And then the LCD is going bad on this one, so you can't see the last digit. But you hold it up there. It doesn't seem to work without both of them on. 359, 360, I got it. So 3,600, I should say. So these are about $250 when we pass it around. Don't you'll break it. Come look at it, Hunter. You'll break it. You'll break it. And then they have the real fancy ones. I've never actually used one of these before, but you slide this little thing back and forth for the RPM that you want. So right now it's like at 3,600, which is really fast. Or
1,800.
Or divide by 2, so it'll be 1,800. So it says right on there, dual range. And then you look through this little tiny hole right there, and you flick it. And it says that if the prop turns forward, it's faster. If it turns backwards in appearance, like I said, I've never used one of these. So next time you guys are running you guys, when you run then we should try this and see how it works. So. You have to get real close. It does say stand within 6 inches and.
I'll do it. In front.
All right. So let's see. Oh, we could do it like with this. Huh. Did you do it with this?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's way. But you gotta be 30
probably
feet
gotta
away.
scale it down really, really far. Just slide it.
Spin it fast.
As fast as you want to spin.
All right, you gotta get it up to 1,500 RPM. Good luck.
Good luck.
You can see a shutter on it, yeah.
Forward or backwards?
I think it's still going forward.
Wait, you said forward and put it this way.
Whoa.
So it's what slower.
That is actually. Can we pass that around?
So sadly, somebody was, I'll say who, it wasn't one of you guys, was like, oh, I get it. It like makes it so it like you can put it on a table and like it's like stable. Like, well, actually, since it's like it stays just fine without it. So no.
You're actually so you can bring a buddy along.
Okay, so back to this because we're running out of time here. All right, so let's see. Verify RPM restrictions are marked. Check accuracy of the tack. You'll get into tachometers and stuff, but what the hell is that about?
Recording?
Oh.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. Better to be safe than sorry. So you have your tachometer, and then sometimes you will have, somebody will put they'll put tape on it. They'll order a new one, so they'll put like, ooh, this is my yellow range. They'll put that tape on there, and then on the glass, and then they'll put like, well, there's my red line. Well, the funny thing is, how do you know the glass didn't rotate?
You have an indication mark.
So yeah, there's a rule that says you put a little, I use white because everything is black. You have to put a piece of tape or a mark, like a slippage mark, to see if it slips. So. But this is about props, it's not about tacks. So check for that. Let me see. I think a lot of this might be redundant. Check propeller. Check for propeller Check the propeller manufacturer for corrective action if the prop is operated in a restricted range. Wood props. I think I already talked about all this. Require delicate maintenance. This is probably really old. How much a prop cost? It was only about $2,000 for a wood prop. So if you're asked to inspect a prop by a DME, what would you say?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I'll give you the receipt.
Nope.
Whatever this is called, not receipt. Service report.
That would be a legitimate thing for DME to ask you. Inspect the propeller. That's something AMPs do. We inspect propellers. Say inspect the. Yeah. What are you going to say? Oh, I'm not allowed to look at that.
That's not what
Once you get an AMP, you're automatically not able to become a pilot.
What are some of my inspection criteria? What am I going to look for? Come on, you should be able just to, you shouldn't be sitting there going, I don't know. You're going to be asked this on so many things. Like I said, when I was a DME, I'd do 44 projects. Figure at least 10 of them were inspect this. So you got to be able to inspect anything. What's the first thing you should do when someone asks you to inspect something?
Clean it.
Clean it. Next thing.
Look at the damn thing.
Ask for a flashlight and a magnifying glass. So when I was a DME, I loved it if I asked somebody, hey, I need you to inspect this propeller. That's all I can say. I'm not supposed to give you, I guess I could. Here's a flashlight and a magnifying glass. Maybe I shouldn't leave it there. Here's a magnifying glass and what I need you to, it's not, hey, inspect. Oh yeah, that's next person to fall asleep. I'm going to do it again. So come on, you guys have been here a year now. It's time. So inspect.
Manual. Get the manual out.
Yes. So I'd love it if somebody I was checking said, would you like me to get out the manual and go through that step by step, or would you just like me to do a visual inspection? That's awesome. You can ask that. And then if what I needed them to do with the manual, I would say, well, what do you think you should do? Then you would say,
Get the manual.
I will get the manual. Don't go for the lesser thing. Right? And then you're going to say, what page should I turn it to, right?
No, you should know how.
No, you're not going to ask how to use the manual. So you're going to pop out the manual, go for the inspection, and start going through the inspection procedure. Sometimes the projects I had were locate and identify the inspection criteria for. So I would say, I need you to inspect this prop. And you'd say, okay, can I have the manual? Yes, you can have the manual. Or, the manual is right here. You'd open it up. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to inspect it per this right here. And it says right here, I'm going to need a flashlight. And I go, okay, we're good, we're done. Next project. I'm like, what? No, I just need you to locate the inspection procedure. That was the actual project. You didn't have to do it. But if you have to do it, I have a wood prop. We're going to clean it. What are we going to clean it with?
Mild soap and water.
Yeah, so we're going to ask for a couple of rags, dry rag, wet rag. I'm going to wash it. Or, for those of you who don't want to say anything, you're going to have a hard time. You be very verbal with your exam, and you'll do very well. All right, first thing I would like to do is clean it. Do you have some mild soap and water for me and some rags for me to clean this? I'd be like, noted, good job. Let's go ahead and do it like it is right here. And say, okay, next thing I would like is a flashlight and a magnifying glass so I can look at it. All right, what are you going to look for?
Cracks.
Hey. Yes, all the usual things. I'm not even going to write it. You should know. Cracks, dents. It's wood. What else? Termites. Dents, delamination, warping. It's a propeller. What's the easy thing to check? Balance would be very hard to check. Tracking. So we check tracking. What do you have to be very careful of? You're going to be moving a propeller on a live engine?
Make sure bags are out. Make sure it's not a light engine.
Mm-hmm. It's actually very difficult to check tracking on an engine that has spark plugs in it. Now you guys are working on engines that are on steel stands that are pretty rigid. Now try doing it on something that has rubber tires and struts and is prone to moving around and compression. So when you pull it through, you think you're not going to move the airplane 1/16 of an inch. So if you move it more than a 1/16 of an inch,
Then the prop's out of spec.
then your prop's out of spec. I need a new prop. I'm like, you just moved the prop. The whole airplane's 6 inches. Of course. Wow, look at that. It's like 4 feet out, man. I couldn't believe it.
Well, you say it moves like 60 inches forward for your rotation, right? So
Yeah.
You rotated it.
So you're going to measure that, right? And as long as it's 60 inches and not 16 1/8, you're good. So, all right.
you move it forward, you're like, it didn't move at all. I guess I need to increase the blade.
Yeah, if the propeller is off the airplane, then yes, we're going to concentrate where?
On the roll.
bolt holes, the hub area. So what about the bolt holes? We want to make sure they're
Not elongated.
wallered out. That's a industry term. How about the hub? Shouldn't be crushed. How do you know if it's crushed?
You'll see splinters, or you'll like you should have has a clear coat or paint on it.
Oh yeah, that paint.
Washer
rings marks.
Well, yeah. That's at one point it was straight across the hub, but now if it kind of goes like this, that would be crushed, right? So, let me see. We talked about repairs can only be performed by.
Certified repair station.
All right, can you revarnish a wood prop?
Yes.
Yes. What do you have to be careful of?
The weight balances out.
Yeah, make sure you do it
The right
right
way.
way. What kind of varnish would you use?
Whatever it calls.
Prop manual. What if the prop manual doesn't say?
4313. I don't think it has a varnish in there though.
It just says revarnish as needed. I don't know what it
Whatever
says.
varnish you want.
Yeah,
Call
good.
the prop man and ask them what they.
Yeah, call the prop. Here you go. Call the prop shop. You know, hey, call Sensenich. They're still in business. Hey, what would you like me to use? Probably they'd say, oh, a good quality marine varnish will be fine. Yeah.
I only have 90 varnish.
Yep. They don't. Yeah, marine varnish. It's edible. That's. It's navy varnish has lead in it. Let's see. We're going to check the torque often on wood props. There it is. The torque for the props on the prop that I worked on, they were AN4. So that's what size bolt? Quarter inch. The torque was 140 inch-pounds. So that's not much. Check it every 25. I think this is right out of the manual. Every 25 to 50 hours.
Every oil change.
And at each environmental change.
So every season.
Yeah.
So on the solstice.
Oh, it was hot yesterday and then it rained today.
Yeah. So it's like,
So now so
Well, according to that little Greta chick, I mean, that would be every day, so.
That little credits.
I probably should edit that out. Huh?
She's gonna send you a cease and desist, dude.
I know.
She's got a team of lawyers.
I don't. I do. I just have one.
Got a little
Let's see. Okay, so we varnished the face or the back.
Definitely the back.
Okay, what about the face? What color should that be?
Yeah, glare resistant. The glare resistant one, so the pilot doesn't see it.
Flat black.
Flat black.
Yes. As opposed to bumpy black.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if you use a gloss paint?
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, you kind of are. Okay. Let me see. Oh, here's my. Yeah, I've checked torque. We already talked about the attachment of the hub on the taper cranks and such. Taper cranks. Steerman manual states torque may be applied by a man of approximately 175 pounds using a 31-inch rod,
Yeah.
which equates to 450 foot-pounds. And then check blade. Tracking. Okay, metal props. Let me see. If you're asked to inspect a metal prop, what are you going to look for? Cracks, chips, dents, etc. With I said 10 power, but you're supposed to use a 4 power. Don't look too hard. Let me see. We talked about dressing out the leading edges. Why do we dress out leading edges and trailing edges of props? Stress risers. Prevent stress risers. Let me see. Repairs of nicks, scratches, gouges, etc. on aluminum propeller blades must be made parallel to the length of the blade. Yeah. Minor surface damage located repairable. Minor surface damage located in a repairable area, but not on the leading or trailing edges. So, where is that? Face of the back. May be repaired by first filing with a rifle file.
That's a weird thing to file with, honestly.
Yeah.
No, aren't rifle files have a square edge?
No, I had to write this. A file that is bent to file the middle of a blade, like a spoon.
Yeah, they're square and they got a curve.
Is that it?
They're square. It's like a square that tapers down to a point, but curves up like a.
Oh, yeah.
One of those shoes that those.
Shoehorn, like a shoehorn.
You can't.
I said like a spoon. It's a thing that looks like, but yeah, shoehorn maybe. Let's see. We already talked about manufacturer's instructions. But note that the charts in AC 4313 work off original manufacturer's dimensions for rework. If you don't know the original dimensions, you can't use the chart. Missing, repaint, missing or chip paint. Let me see. We talked about black. Flat black on the face, customer choice on the back. Tips are painted a high visibility color. If your blades are white, what color would you paint the tips?
Yellow.
Yellow or orange, yeah. And then static balance after any repair. Can you static balance on the airplane? Not very accurately, no. All right, so balance. So an imbalance condition will be exaggerated by, or as RPM increases to a point. You ever see somebody going down the freeway with an out of balance tire, like grossly out of balance, where it's like bouncing down the road?
Until you get to like 95 and then it suddenly smooths.
Then it does. It kind of smooths out. So that's why I say to a point. So at first it's kind of rough, and then it's like, oh, it kind of got better. So now it's just skipping along the road. It always cracks me up to see that. Huh?
Fixed pitch tire.
Yeah. So yes. So if it's an out of balance, you know, you can. If somebody has a vibration, well, does it get worse with RPM? It really does. Well, guess what? So balance is done both statically. Is done both static and dynamically. Static. So we talked about dynamic. How do you do dynamic?
It's on the airplane running.
Airplane's running. So for static, let's see. That's it. Put them on the thing and do the stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe I must have pulled out those slides. It's terrible of me. Let's see. Oh, because the next one is so cool. We got to save time for video tonight.
Well,
We got 30
yeah, there's not much time left. Oh.
Yeah.
What is that?
We got to save time for
That's
that.
a sushi roll, isn't it?
That thing got. It's gonna run into the back.
California.
What happened?
Wolverine happened.
Oh, shit.
Stay tuned. All right, so there we go. There's our blade track, our balancing. So have your vertical balance check. The way I remember it is a vertical balance, a blade out of vertical balance will not stay vertical. A blade out of horizontal will not stay horizontal. To me, it's a lot easier to balance a vertical blade. Just put a whole lot of weight on one of the blades and it stays pretty vertical
Yeah, that's
all by
that's a weird
itself.
check.
Huh?
I think that's a weird check.
You're
If
supposed
it's vertical, it's like, well, it's like then you get a 50-50 chance of finding out if it's right the first time. So it's like, why don't you just put it horizontal, whichever way it falls?
That's what I do. So, let's see. Yeah, so these are words that you need to know. So you're going to do that. So the blade is going to sit on an arbor on a knife edge. So you put it on an arbor in the propeller, place it on a knife edge. Things that you must do. The knife edge must be very level. Very level, or it just continues to roll. And you can't have air movement because it is a propeller. And so it'll blow the blades and it will always spin. So no air movement and it must be very level. How can you verify something is level? How do you know the level is accurate?
Calibrated.
How do you calibrate a level?
You buy one that's calibrated.
No, it's easy.
You put it on something else that you know is level. This is a trick question.
No, turn it around.
Oh yeah, one way the bubble will be one way, and then you turn around, the bubble should be.
The same.
Same.
Yeah.
Not opposite.
Just turn around.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay, static. An arbor sits on a knife edge because these are words in ARBOR. Sits on a knife edge. We have one of these in the NDT lab. So propeller is placed on the knife edges. Edges must be perfectly level. Room with no air movement. If propeller is balanced, there will be no movement of the propeller. That should stand to reason, right? So the propeller is going to go in there, and you put it on this arbor, and in the arbor, and then you put it on the knife edges, and you put it horizontal, and you let go. And if one blade starts to do this, then what?
It's out of balance.
Yeah, then this side over here is heavy. And if it stays perfectly still, then you have good horizontal balance. So horizontal balance. If the propeller is horizontally out of balance, the heavier blade will rotate down. If prop out of horizontal balance will not stay horizontal. That's not much of that. Add weight is needed. Let me see. Vertical. Then you're going to do it vertical. So you're going to put it vertically. And if it stays vertical, you have to
Flip it around 180.
You have to flip it around, because if this blade weighs 100 pounds more than this one, it will stay perfectly vertically balanced, right? So you got to do it the other way. If the propeller is vertically out of balance, the heavier part of the hub will rotate down. So that's why you do it horizontal vertically, because the same thing is true here. If you have a really heavy hub, it will stay that way. Well, you can do it this way, but if you get it perfectly level and the hub is still heavier, it'll tend to stay. But if you have a heavy hub this way, it'll always roll the hub down. So that's why you have to do it vertical and horizontal.
What about just a 90 is 45?
Do it at 45? That's not fair.
Well, does it stay the static? You're supposed to, any position you put it in, it shouldn't go either way.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see, add weight is needed. So where are you going to add weight? Do I need to write all this? Vertical,
Depends on.
Screw holes on the hood, baby.
vertical, imbalance. Let me see, vertical, imbalance.
Well, I guess that actually kind of makes sense.
You'd add a lot.
Vertical imbalance.
Or you might be able to find like a really an equal point diagonally if the hub is heavy on one side and the blade is heavy. It'll
You just
still
figured
fight
that out?
equal. Yeah, I did. Show me. You can do that.
If prop is out of V balance, that's vertical balance, it will not stay vertical. Means hub is out of balance. Hub is out of balance. Right now we're talking about mostly, we're talking about fixed pitch props or ground adjustable. There's no grease involved. Once you start getting into constant speed props with grease, could mean grease is offset. They grease too much of the prop on one side or the other. So that'll cause it. Horizontal imbalance. If prop is out of horizontal balance, it will not stay horizontal. Heavier blade rotates down, but I'm not going to write that. So we're going to add weight as needed. Add weight as needed. Let's see. If we have a wood prop, you can add solder. I wouldn't. I would probably send it out for that, but that's just me. If it's a metal, it may have mounts for weights. There'll just be some screw holes on the hub, about that far apart. You just put little plates on there that are made for that. Screw them on. Some props, I'll get into this next week, have what the hell are they called? Welch bolts. Welch bolts that hold lead wool. You should see the sheeps that come off of. They're weird.
I have a question.
Yep.
Is there such a
It would depend on the manufacturer. They may say you can't add more than. I know in dynamic balancing, absolutely, you can't add a pound. There's just only so many ounces you can add. Let's say it's out of balance. Some manufacturers actually allow removal of material off the heavier blade. I'm not doing that. Let's see, dynamic balance. Talked about that. Talked about that. All right. We're good. Questions?